If you've never flown out in the Owyhees, it's kind of hard to explain until you see it from this perspective.
You guys are fucking nuts.
Rock formations, deep cuts, and miles of terrain that just doesn't look like anywhere else. The name Owyhee actually comes from 3 Hawaiian trappers back in the early 1800s who disappeared out here while working for the Hudson Bay Company. They never made it out, and the name stuck, which tells you something about how remote this place felt back then, and honestly, still does. I'm getting ready to head back out to Utah and Idaho again this summer, and it reminded me that I've been sitting on a bunch of footage from a trip out here last fall that I never actually put into a video. So this is that trip, and it started right after getting the Freedom Fox back from repairs. There's always a little bit of a mental reset after an airplane's been down for maintenance. There's even more of a mental reset when you experience something like I did last summer in Hell's Canyon. Even when everything's been gone through and signed off, that first flight back is less about the airplane and more about you getting comfortable with it again. You run your checks, take your time, and give yourself options. We had already done a handful of test flights around Homedale just to make sure everything was behaving the way it should. So this wasn't the very first hop, but it was the first time really getting back out and using the airplane again, which is part of why the Owyhees made sense for this flight. As wild as it looks, there's a lot of open space out here if you plan it right.
Pulling me closer, oh I gotta stay away, but you won't let me. No one makes me feel like you do, and no one sets my body on fire, and no one gives me shivers like you. Oh, no one does.
Homedale is right up there, the airport. Oh yeah, I see it. But we keep flying, we can go out that way, we can follow the river, whatever you want to do. Well, hopefully I get to fly with you tomorrow, and yeah.
And no one makes me feel like you do, and no one sets my body on fire, no one gives me shivers like you.
Yeah, one of these hills out here I just freaking landed on. That's cool. Yeah, this would be an okay place to have an emergency, right? Feel pretty confident. Yep.
Not long after takeoff, Jason Gray joined up in his orange and black Kitfox, which is helpful because if you're going to follow someone around out here, it's nice when you can actually see them. Jason knows this area really well, so for me it turned into less of a where should we go kind of day and more of a just don't lose Jason kind of day.
You guys are nuts. Yeah, this is what it's all about. Man, I was doing this all summer until that happened. Hey, we gotta go to Idaho. Come up here and do this, do the backcountry. Man, it's so fun. Man, it'd be so badass ripping around here. 2 Kitfoxes. It'd be unreal. Yeah.
The first stop was Sucker Creek. It's one of those strips where the uphill slope does you a favor, as long as you're committed to the landing. It gets your attention, but it's straightforward if you fly a good approach and stay on speed. We didn't stay long though. There was too much to explore and too little daylight left. From there, we worked our way out toward the reservoir.
Yeah, this is the canyon I'm telling you about. There's some of the canyons.
Following the terrain out here is half the fun. Just picking your way through valleys and letting the landscape dictate the route. The honeycombs, as they're called, are some of the most unique rock formations you'll ever see.
Man, it's about the sun's not shining right on these. Man, when I came through here in the summertime, it was just absolutely gorgeous.
The reservoir strip opens things up a little bit, but it's still very much backcountry flying. You're always paying attention to wind, terrain, and what your next move is going to be. From there, we headed into Spring Creek.
Between wreck and rubble, can you see the land? For many more children to be buried in. Between wreck and rubble, can you see the land? Children to be buried in. I can't pinpoint just where we went wrong. How many more graves?
This one sits back in a canyon, and the approach makes you think a little more than the others. Not because it's extreme, but because everything happens a little quicker. It's a good reminder that energy management matters, and small corrections early make a big difference later. And when you're down, it's just you, the airplanes, and a place not a lot of people ever get to see. The next day, we met up with Roland Steadham.
Are you having fun yet?
Man, I'm having a blast.
Dude, that was some of the best drone shots I've ever gotten in the plane world. I mean, for sure.
Roland was one of those people who just made an impression right away. Easy to talk to, incredibly genuine, and the kind of guy who really enjoyed showing people around this kind of country.
And 3, 2, 1, go. Now let's actually set up, let's extend beyond the trees, turn around, and then come at the trees, paralleling the trees from the south.
Sounds good.
And then slow it up and give me a chance to catch up to you once you straighten out.
Sounds good.
Flying with him felt different, not in a technical sense, just in a pace of the day. It was less about hitting specific spots and more about just being out there and enjoying it.
Oh, I'm liking that.
I bet. Yeah.
Okay, boss, let's head home.
Yep.
You got the lead, I'll follow you.
All right.
Earlier this year, Roland passed away in a plane crash, and that one hit me pretty hard. Roland is probably one of the kindest, most genuine people you'd ever meet, and he had a smile made for television. Since Clint was with me, we offered to get some footage of Roland and his plane, and he kindly declined and said, "I'm just here for you guys."
Sit into a tumble, waves that shake me out. out of my skin.
And this is why we come out here. Not to push limits, but to experience something that's real, and to do it in a way that's thoughtful and intentional. And to share it with people like that.
Well, my friend, I think that was a pretty successful trip. Yeah. Well, you did a great job flying, man. I'm impressed. I know you hadn't had the plane that long, but you command it really well.
Thank you.
I was waiting in the undertow, set adrift with fed away like bows, unaware of where my heart would flow. I was waiting in the undertow.
2 solid days in the Owyhees, flying with good people and getting the Freedom Fox back out there where it belongs. The next stop was Utah, with the planned stop in Moab. At least that was the plan, because as usual, weather had a little bit to say about that.